25th of January, 1945. Thursday, 0 degrees Celsius. Cloudy, calm, 10 centimeters thick snow covers the ground.
Looks Gyula, 60 years old college teacher. District 12.
Human words are incapable of describing the suffering we've endured over the past week. When I finished writing in my diary on the 24th, I thought perhaps we would have peaceful days. Unfortunately, that was not the case. The next day at noon, a German soldier appeared and asked if there were any German soldiers here. I replied that there were none. Did I have any weapons? Of course I didn't, but he searched all the rooms. When he was finished with that, he asked if I had any drinks. I said I had a few bottles of wine. "Show me," he said. I had to go to the pantry, and of course, he found all the bottles of wine and palinka there. So he said that since I had lied, he would now take all the drinks. Since during the search, he had seen that there were suitcases in the other room, he demanded that I empty 2 suitcases. He filled them with bottles and cans. Then he grabbed the 2 suitcases and left with them. The next evening, someone knocked at the door. I opened the door, and there was the villain from yesterday again. But now he was with a friend. It was clear that they were drunk. His companion was so drunk that as soon as he entered, he sat down and immediately fell asleep. The robber, however, again demanded that I open all the rooms because he wanted to make sure that there were no soldiers there. After making sure that there was no one else in the house, he again demanded that I open the food pantry. I had to empty another suitcase, and he filled it with drinks and cans and fat. And he also filled a backpack with all sorts of food and preserves. With that packed up, he wanted to leave, but he couldn't wake his companion. Finally, he managed to get up and they stumbled out. As soon as they left, I immediately ran to the neighbor's house for help. There were German soldiers stationed there who came to visit us every day. I told them what had happened. They immediately set off to catch the robbers, but they didn't catch up with them, but they allegedly shot after them because they claimed they had authorization to shoot such robbers. This was unpleasant news because I was prepared for the villain to return and take revenge on me. My anxiety was soon realized. However, my luck was on my side. As soon as this robber left, 2 German armored soldiers appeared and asked for lodging. I made the janitor's apartment available to them. They thanked me and went to get their things. In the meantime, I told them the story of the robbery. They were very outraged by the incident. As soon as they left, there was a knock at the door again. I opened it, and there stood the 2 armored soldiers, and between them was my robber, clutching a pistol in his hand. They came in and interrogated the idiot. It turned out that the armored soldiers were members of the military police, and they had just caught him because he had just turned the corner of the gate when they were going out. They asked why he had come here now. He lied and said that he had been shot at twice from this house, and he had come here now to find out who had shot at him. I interrupted and said that this was a lie because no one had shot from here, and there were no weapons in the house. Then he talked nonsense, and his great fear was evident. They didn't interrogate him for long, but took him away. When they went out, one of them called back, "Der wird nicht lange leben," meaning, "He won't live long." This was a huge relief for us. This villain could have shot me in his drunkenness. Another life-threatening situation had been averted.
Buda, 1st District, Castle District. Captain Sapecki wanted to know how much fuel the battalion still had. He called for Lieutenant Hetchy, but he didn't know. So Sapecki sent his sergeant to check. The sergeant came back and reported that the fuel barrel seemed to be empty. He even tipped it over, but heard no sloshing. He looked inside, but couldn't see anything because it was dark in the garage. The captain swore, then they went down together to check. The sergeant tipped the barrel over again. Still no sound. So Sipaki struck a match and leaned towards the barrel. The petrol fumes ignited and exploded. The captain's hands were burned to the bone, and the fire also reached his face, but he didn't lose his head. He quickly kicked open the door and jumped out of the garage, where the explosion had consumed the oxygen in the air. Outside, 2 men extinguished the captain's burning clothes and carried him to the first aid station.
Gresa Ferenc, 42 years old, Roman Catholic priest. Nagykovácsi.
Cossacks came from Telki and organized a manhunt. Those who could fled into the forest. Many did not manage to escape and hide. One classroom was packed with men. The women ran terrified to the town hall. It was 8 p.m. The rounded-up men were taken away before dark. Cossacks escorted them. The women followed them all the way to Gyulai Street. To reassure them, they were told that the men were only being taken for work. They were allowed to take 3 days' worth of food with them. They hoped they would return soon.
Editor's note: under the pretext of malenkaya rabota, small work, tens of thousands of civilians were deported from Hungary to forced labor camps in the Soviet Union. Many of them never returned.